What would you do if your own family turned against you? If the person you love was hiding secrets that could break you? Chimee and Ezinne thought their marriage was strong, but soon they would face troubles they never expected. Will their love survive? Let me tell you what happened. Many years ago, in the city of Enugu, a couple named Chimee and Ezinne were happily married. They lived together in a small house and struggled to survive, as they could hardly afford daily meals. Ezinne had married Chimee out of love, believing that things would get better in the future. Chimee studied architecture at a polytechnic, but Ezinne couldn't continue her education because her parents didn't have the money. After Chimee graduated, he searched for jobs and contracts, but it seemed nothing was working. Even though he had no money, that didn't stop him from marrying Ezinne, the woman he loved deeply. They both had strong hope for a better tomorrow and always prayed for things to improve. Ezinne trusted Chimee with all her heart. One evening, while Chimee was drinking garri and groundnuts, his phone rang. It was his friend Emeka. Emeka asked if he had gotten any contract, but Chimee said he hadn't. Then Emeka told him about a rich man from their village who was looking for a driver. He said the pay was good and it would help Chimee and his wife a lot. Chimee thanked him and said he would talk to his wife first before making a decision. Later that evening, when Ezinne came home, Chimee told her everything. They talked about it. Even though Chimee didn't feel happy about becoming a driver, they both knew they had no other choice. So Chimee called Emeka back and told him he was interested. Emeka then sent him the rich man's number and said his name was Chief Idenibu. That evening, Chimee called Chief Idenibu and said he wanted to take the driver job. Chief Idenibu asked him to come over to his house so they could finalize the agreement. The next morning, Chimee arrived at Chief Idenibu's house. After they discussed the salary and terms of the job, which were quite good, Chimee started working as Chief's driver, taking him wherever he needed to go. Chief Idenibu owned many businesses. Some were managed by his workers, while others were handled by members of his family. That was how Chimee began his job. Ezinne was very happy because her husband's salary helped her start a small business. The couple continued managing their life with that job. A few years later, something serious happened. Chief Idenibu was on his way to his hometown when he was almost attacked by assassins. That morning, Chimee was driving him to his village in Anambra where he noticed some strange men on the road. Their behavior seemed suspicious, and Chimee quickly sensed danger. Without wasting time, he sped off at high speed. The men started shooting at the car, but Chimee's quick thinking helped them escape. Chief Idenibu was shocked and deeply impressed by Chimee's courage. He couldn't stop thanking him and promised to help him in any way for saving his life. After they returned safely from the trip, Chief Idenibu gifted Chimee and his wife a beautiful house. He also connected Chimee with his wealthy friends who gave him job contracts. It seemed like the beginning of a beautiful new life for Chimee and Ezinne, right? Let's continue the story. After they settled into their new home, Chimee continued to do well in his new work. Ezinne also started her own clothing business. She began importing clothes from Turkey, China, and other countries. She used her phone to take pictures of the clothes and she posted them on her social media page. Sometimes she would wear the outfits, record videos, and advertise them herself. One afternoon around 6 p.m., while she was preparing dinner, she quickly went to open it, and to her surprise, she saw Chimee's elder sister, Chibo. "Ah, Sister Chibo, you're welcome. You didn't tell us you were coming, oh," Ezinne said with a smile. Chibo looked at her from head to toe and replied coldly, "This is my brother's house. I don't need to tell anyone before coming. Must I announce my visit?" Ezinne quietly welcomed her and showed her to the guest room. When her husband, Chimee, came home, he was surprised to see his sister, Chibo, but he welcomed her warmly and was happy to see her after such a long time. While they were eating dinner that evening, Sister Chibo suddenly started talking. So, Ezinne, why haven't you gotten pregnant? It's been 4 years since the marriage, no child. What's going on? Even if Mama hasn't said anything yet, I will. Everyone at the table went silent. Ezinne, who had been eating, suddenly lost her appetite. She tried to keep calm, but it was hard. Chimee noticed that Ezinne was upset and quickly spoke up for her. We are trusting God, he said. Our children will come at the right time. But Sister Chibo didn't agree. She replied, Oga, it's clear your wife is barren. Go get another wife. As the conversation got more heated, Ezinne quietly stood up from the table and went to the bedroom. She sat on the bed and she cried. That night, Chimee and his sister Chibo had a serious argument. He told her to stop saying such things about his wife or she would have to leave his house. He also reminded her that she wasn't even married herself, even though she was older than Ezinne. Chibo, who was very stubborn and insensitive, didn't listen to her younger brother at all. Chimee was already tired from work that day. He went to his wife to apologize for his sister's behavior. The next morning, Chimee went for work while Ezinne set up her gadgets to film videos for her clothing brand. Chibo, who had been watching from the sitting room, walked up to her and started accusing her. She said Ezinne was doing useless things instead of focusing on having children. This made Ezinne feel very uncomfortable and stressed. Chibo, for no reason, had vowed to make life difficult for her and didn't care about anything Ezinne was doing. When Chimee returned home that evening, he found his wife crying bitterly on their bed. He asked what was wrong, but Ezinne didn't want to cause more trouble, so she simply said she wasn't feeling well. But as soon as Chimee stepped out of the room, Chibo started shouting. So this is what you let that useless wife of yours do, eh? She just sits at home making videos. She even shakes her bum bum on social media. Ha ha! Why would she want to have children? Enough! Enough! Chimee shouted. What kind of trouble is this? We were living in peace until you came. Chibo now started crying. She said Chimee had insulted her, that she would leave to go see their mother and report everything. The next morning, she left the house. 2 days later, Chimee received a message from the village. His mother had sent an urgent message saying she was very sick. It was the first time he had ever received such news. He quickly told his wife and rushed off to the village without delay. When Chimee got home to the village, he was surprised to see his mother sitting comfortably eating hot jollof rice. She looked strong and healthy. He was really surprised. His mother asked him to sit down and she continued enjoying her food. Then she said, "If I had called you normally, you wouldn't have come. I had to do what I had to do." Chimee asked her, "Mama, what's the reason for all this?" She replied, "I need grandchildren." "I need grandchildren, eh? Why are you defending your wife? You need to take a second wife, my son." But Chimee refused to listen to what she was saying. So his mother gave him 2 options. Either they visit a native doctor who could help his wife conceive, or he should marry another woman. If he didn't choose one, she said she would stab herself to death right there and then. Chimee, confused and under pressure, agreed to go see the native doctor. When they arrived, the native doctor performed some incantations using Ezinne's name with Chimee's permission. After the ritual, the native doctor said Ezinne would soon get pregnant. What Chimee didn't know was that his mother had secretly planned with the native doctor to make Ezinne run mad, so they could push her out and bring in another wife for him. When Chimee returned to Enugu, he only told Ezinne that his mother was worried about them not having a child. He didn't mention anything about the native doctor. That night, around 12 a.m., Chimee suddenly woke Ezinne up, saying he was feeling strange. Before she could understand what was happening, he turned into a black dog. Ezinne screamed in shock. Right away, she realized her husband had done something evil without telling her. She ran out of the bedroom and quickly locked the door behind her. Then she called her mother in panic and said, Mama, my husband has turned into a doggo." Her mother screamed and replied, "Hey, Chineke na, That means your husband did something bad in your name, because there is no other explanation to this now. What Chimee and his family didn't know about Ezinne was that in their village, no one could harm them spiritually. Anyone who tried it would turn into a black dog. That was a tradition of her people. Ezinne cried bitterly, feeling deeply hurt that her husband had betrayed her. The next morning, she informed his family about what had happened. His mother and sister Chibo came quickly. Chibo and her mother saw Chimee through the window, who was now a dog. They could not believe their eyes. They began insulting Ezinne, calling her a witch. Ezinne stood her ground and faced them angrily. She told them the tradition of her people and that the only way to undo what had happened was to go to her village and meet their native doctor. She explained that the native doctor would do the necessary rituals to reverse it. She said she was doing this because she still loved her husband and wanted to understand why he would try to harm her. Chime's mother and Chibo became very scared. And then they changed the conversation again, blaming her that she hid their tradition from her husband and his people. After so many arguments, they later decided to travel to Ezinne's village. When they got to Ezinne's village, the native doctor performed some spiritual work. Suddenly, Chimee shouted loudly and he transformed back into a human. With tears in her eyes, Ezinne asked her husband, "Why did you try to hurt me?" Chimee confessed everything. He said he only followed his mother's advice so she could bear children. Immediately he said that his mother and Chibo started scratching their bodies uncontrollably, as if something had possessed them. They began acting mad. Then, in a strange chorus, they both sang loudly, "We deceived you, oh, kagangunga. She was meant to run mad, oh, kagangunga. You need a new wife, oh, kagangunga." As they continued singing, they ran wildly into the main road like mad people. Chimee was shocked, and Ezinne, still in tears, hugged her husband tightly. While they held each other, Ezinne whispered, crying, "I missed my period." She had taken a test before he traveled and she saw it was positive, but she wasn't sure at that time. Now she had done another test and it was confirmed she was truly pregnant. She wanted to tell him that day, but he was too tired, so she decided to wait until the next morning. But then everything happened and he turned into a dog. Chimee kept apologizing and cried like a baby. His heart was broken, knowing that his mother and sister had deceived him into trying to make his wife run mad. In the end, Ezinne gave birth to a healthy, bouncing baby girl. Dear listener, this story teaches us something deep. Sometimes the real enemy is not far away. It lives in your own house. But even when you're betrayed by the people you trust the most, never lose yourself. Like Ezinne, stay strong, stay true, and never let bitterness change your heart. Because in the end, truth fights for itself, and no evil plan can destroy what God has already blessed. Protect your peace, guard your home, and remember, love built on lies would collapse, but love built on patience and truth will always stand. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story and learned something from it, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your bell notification so that once I post a new story, you'll be the first to know. Until we meet again, besties, stay safe and remain blessed.